So what do we have first? The update on production, fulfillment, and timeline. All right. Currently, we are ahead of our schedule. We have got everything in wherever it needs to be produced. But even though we're ahead of our schedule, that doesn't necessarily translate that we'll be shipping any earlier than next February. But at this point right now, we are planning to make sure that we do hit our deadline. It's been a major effort on our part to get here because we've yet to hit a deadline in the first three, as everyone knows. So anyway, that's where we are on the production schedule.
So production, everything's overseas being produced. All the sculpting is done.
Or here in the U.S. Yes. Everything's all signed off. It's really out of our hands at this moment. We're just managing all the vendors.
And we are on target for our February 2019 fulfillment.
Yes.
Right. So real quick, so we extended the Reaper Pledge Manager's closing.
Yes.
Originally it was going to be July 31st.
Yes.
And we have pushed it off to September the 3rd of 2018. So can you tell everyone why we decided to go ahead and extend that another month?
What was showing up was in the past we found in the first three Kickstarters that by this time, when we picked our date off into the future to close the Pledge Manager, there was generally zero activity. I mean, everything, all of the excitement had played, everybody was in, we're all just playing the waiting game. This time that's not the case. We're still seeing pretty much the exact same volume of new people getting in now as back when it closed. So we want to make sure we get more time, because if we shut it off in the middle of that, then we're just going to start dealing with a lot of people saying, let me in. And these people do pay a premium. If you were in the original Kickstarter, you're getting the awesome deal, and these people do pay a premium to sign in. So that's why we extended it.
And we are getting new people all the time.
Yeah,
going,
exactly.
I missed the Kickstarter.
Yes.
How do I get in?
Yeah.
And so there's a link on the ReaperMini.com front page. There's a big button at the front page that says, missed the Kickstarter? Jump in now. If you missed it and you want to get in, you can still get in. September 3rd is the cutoff. You can get these at a great price right now, as opposed to when they're available through our normal channels. So if you want to get in and get some of these great models at a great price, now's the time to do it. You have a couple months left, but it'll go by like that. And and we usually get people after the fact going, I missed it.
Oh yeah, no, and it's also what we did was to help tie in. One of the biggest problems that we do have is getting people to go ahead and lock in their Kickstarter. That's really still a large issue. So part of what this decision to pick it up to September 3rd is that's also ReaperCon, and we're going to be focusing real heavy when we have everybody's attention to get in there and lock these down. We're still a couple of thousand shy of people out there that have said yes, and the money's there, but we have no idea what they want. So if you're one of them, get in, lock it in, so we know.
So let's talk about this just briefly.
Yeah.
So do we think that the Brexit situation is going to impact our fulfillment?
No, not at this time. There's a lot of hyperbole in the press about the Brexit, and it really is right now in a meandering state. But come their exit, when is March, I guess, is in March of next year. We're not anticipating anything bad. I mean, it's not like the entire UK is just going to go into siege mode. Goods and everything will still continue to travel across the borders and everything else. Some of the rules might change. We're trying to anticipate and be ahead of it as best we can. But it's out of our control, obviously. But at this time, we don't feel that it'll have any dramatic effect. We do have our facility there in Birmingham. That's where all of the EU, as well as a number of countries into the Middle East and everywhere, that's where all of those packages will ship from. So I don't see a problem at this time.
That is Birmingham, UK. Not Birmingham, Alabama. Hello, Bobby Jackson.
Yes, in the UK, yes.
Yeah, Birmingham, UK. I just wanted to shout out to Bobby Jackson. Okay, cool. So, and obviously this only affects our European backers. This doesn't have anything to do with America or Australia. This is just specifically Europe and UK.
Yes, we have a partner in Australia, Etherworks, that we will ship all of our stuff through, and they take into the Lower Asia, just that end of the world. Out of our facility is going to be Canada, Mexico, South America, Central America, all of those regions. So,
and Etherworks, like you said, takes care of Australia, New Zealand, the Pacific area.
All of that whole area. And anything they don't care of heading east, I guess, then the UK facility takes care of heading east.
Okay. So, in lieu of all that fun stuff that we've just talked about, let's talk about some of the specific models. Let's show some of the specifics that we've gotten from... this is an actual chronoscope set that we've received, and some of the models inside. I mean, you can't see them on the screen, but these these have turned out fantastic. We were really happy with the production models and the way they look. I think people, when they get these, are going to be super excited to see how well these have really translated. But yeah, these look really nice.
Now, one of the things with this Kickstarter is, because from our side, we're always trying to improve the production, listen to what customers want, all of that. That's our job. So what we've done this time, and it's Chronoscope is one of the sets, is we've gone back and readdressed the bendiness of the plastic. So what you're seeing here is actual production shots, and this stuff it's now stiff and straight. I don't know how close you can get to it from there.
We'll try to show some shots.
But anyway, this is one of the more dramatic improvements that part of, not the entire Kickstarter, is here. We like to operate more evolutionary, so if we're going to try something that's dramatically new, we want to make sure that we can control it. So we took a section of this Kickstarter and we're using a new material and a new process, but there will still be the white bones material that we were all used to is part of the Kickstarter as well. So the entire thing won't be like this.
Right. So just some of the Kickstarter is going to be in this new
material,
new production process we're using. But again, just to repeat, part of it will still be in the traditional bones that we're going to use. But yeah, this is not nearly as bendy.
Right, as bendy.
And that's a thin model, and she's very
really
stiff.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be really pleased to see some of these pieces. Are really excited with the way that we've improved the production process. Okay, so we're live. Okay, so we're back.
You're good. You guys can heard you.
We're back.
Yeah,
okay,
we're back.
So let's try this again. Sorry.
Where'd we leave off?
Technical difficulties. The hamster's running in the wheel as fast as he can go.
Well, start back with that.
Okay, so this is a look at the Jason Weeby's Dragon Turtle. Yep, we're good. We haven't shown this before. I don't believe in any updates, but he's great now. This is a prototype, so it has the gray rod. The one you're going to get is going to have a clear rod, so it won't look exactly like this, but it's going to look
Looks badass.
It's great. I'm really, really happy with the way this one turned out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's big. It's impressive. That's a nice model. I'm really, really pleased with the way that one turned out. So it looks really good. You've seen the backers have seen this one before. This is Blacksting. Yeah, this is Blacksting, the Wyvern. And so I think we previewed this and showed this during one of the last live streams last summer. So, but just seeing it in hand that's a really cool and very impressive model. Julie Guthrie's Skeletal Dragon. Again, it was one I think we showed photos of during the Kickstarter. But as far as actually having one in hand to be able to handle and turn around, and there's Sir Forescale.
And this is one of the better pieces. This is one that I was really excited about. Julie has a way of really capturing or doing it. I mean, it really does look like it's got the aged bone. It's crushed. It's deformed bones, like it had been buried. So I really like that.
What's great about this one? So Calidrax was I think
off the
really,
first Kickstarter.
From Bones one was a great model. It was really cool, but there were some things we thought we could improve on and so we did another Skeletal Dragon. For example, on Calidrax, the bones, the rib cage was
solid.
Yeah, it was solid. And so on this one, Julie was managed to make the rib cage hollow. And then she also, when Julie was sculpting this, she specifically kept some things in mind. Specifically addressing again the bendiness of bones. She managed to sculpt this so that all 4 feet are in place, so they don't splay and they don't sag. The other thing she did is she put this stone underneath the rib cage, so in case it does tend to sag, it just will rest.
But also,
it looks natural.
Yeah, her articulation of the wings too will help keep it support. That was the problem with Calidrax too, as we found, is that with the material would let it go down and droop.
And the bones, unfortunately, do sometimes can sag a little bit. But these are reinforced here on the rib cage, so that they shouldn't. But I think Julie did an excellent job of engineering this, keeping the bones material in mind. This will be in the traditional bones material, not
these are
the other one.
Yeah.
So now we have not shown this anywhere yet. This is the first time anyone's seen this anywhere.
Oh,
this is
the
new dragon, and
which is done by Gene.
Gene Van Horn sculpted this. Izzy Talon Collier designed it, and the two of them really came up with an excellent, just a really cool dragon. This thing is massive. You can see the wings just from the front view, and then here from the side. And this is a prototype print, it's so big that we had to print the wings in 3 parts. We couldn't get it on the print bed. Let me show you something here. Take that for a second. Hold it by his base, just to give you an idea of size. Now, Kickstarter backers who received a Turok Zool for Bones 3 will know how big this guy is. And so you put these guys next to each other. You can see that Turok Zool's got a very wide, stretched out wingspan, and he's very tall like that. Well, this guy, they're very comparable in size. And this is, if you put them face to face like they're going to kiss, there you go. This guy is massive. He is beefy. And they look great together. I think they make a great set of bookends.
We're getting some requests to move the dragon closer to the camera if you guys want to get them a little closer there.
Okay. Probably easier to bring the camera down.
Yes. Here we can just do. Is this like this?
Is that,
like this?
Yeah, like that.
Like that.
Okay.
Here he is from the.
You have a pedestal we could put it on?
The money shot
there?
side.
We
Right
do
there.
not actually.
Okay.
But that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's great. I mean, I'm super happy with the way this one turned out. Gene did a great job. Kevin and Daryl here at the factory have done a great job, printing and cleaning and getting this thing ready for production.
And the thing I've really enjoyed when Gene did this piece too, as opposed to when you look Turok Zool, the scale work on this is a lot more contained, more I don't know how subdued or in there. It would make for being able to produce patterns on it, like you would see on living reptiles or anything. Just a lot more color could be added.
He's cool. His expression on his face is great. It's really good. It's really cool. Really happy with the way that guy turned out. So here's one of the frost giants that Jason Wiebe did, again designed by Izzy Talent Collier. You can see the size here, but Jason did a fantastic job translating the art. So I'm really pleased with the way all the models have turned out so far. And this is kind of off topic of Bones 4. Do you mind? Do you care? Do y'all care?
Okay.
Just real quick. Speaking of Turok Zool, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so we have the painted version here. This is by Katie Summer. Gene Van Horn again sculpted. Katie Summer painted this for us. This is going to be on the box set. This is the dragon from the box set art. And he will be shipping to distribution, so he'll be available in stores probably the end of the summer, I would hope.
I would think, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's already in the pipeline.
But I figured since we showed the white version, the plain Bones version, and we're showing...
We'll turn it around, too, the backside. She did
Oh,
a
yeah.
really good job.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's an excellent job, but this will be available pretty soon. Like I said, this has nothing to do with Bones 4, but we're talking about cool miniatures and cool toys. I just wanted to show you guys this. So it's kind of the world premiere of the painted version of this guy. So really cool. So for example, Ed, I know that sometimes we have to change models. It's just
Well,
it's just a matter
not so much a change. It's part of contribution. You're talking about the process.
just the process in
Yeah.
general from you
What we
get a piece
did-
of concept art and
Yeah.
the individual
Years
may not
ago,
look like
when
that.
we started, we didn't have the resources, I guess, it's easy to say, to go out and say, well, we need concept artists to design 100 figures, or we need sculptors and all this. So what we evolved from there, when Ron and I were working together, this goes back a lot of years, was just simply a process of that we would do stick versions, for lack of a better term, if we had an opinion or we needed something specific. If we felt we had to, we could get a 2D artist involved, and then they would also. But we considered it a contribution. If we got the piece back from the 2D artist and we looked at our rudimentary stuff, and it didn't match, that's just part of its contribution. Then the same thing would happen to the sculptor. And all the sculptors were told, and this is sort of hard for them to grasp, because they were used to, oh, there's the concept art, I must handle it religiously, or kind of thing. And for us, it was simply more of a suggestion. This is what we want. This is a dragon that we're wanting. And if they changed that dragon and made it more posable, more production, or even more stylistic, as long as it was still within the scope, we were happy. Now what we didn't expect, we didn't give full latitude. We didn't expect to get back like a band of goblins. No, we were expecting a dragon. So, but that's always been our process, is just to literally go through, and there's contributions all the way down the line. Does that make sense?
No, that makes no sense at all.
Oh, okay.
No, that makes that's what I was talking about. But yeah, and talk about specifics. So when we go to production, and we have a piece of concept art, and sometimes the final piece doesn't look like the concept art.
That would be because,
all that
yeah.
you just said. Just why do things change sometimes?
Well, for a lot of reasons. They're going to change sometimes from the production side. Okay. As an example, I mean, this wouldn't have happened, but had this wing shown up on this dragon, straight up this first bone, then I would have looked at it and said we need to reposition that, simply because we've already seen what happens with that particular pose and wings on the original Calidrax. So that would be a production change, not necessarily to do with the art. Sometimes you get the piece in and you look at the 2D art, and when you get the sculpture in, it's just sort of posing and equipment aligning and equipment style. It's easier to draw, let's say, a scale male or something that might work well, but when the sculptor's doing it, it's going to end up being so small and so fine that they have to translate it into something else that's actually paintable.
It's the difference between 2D and 3D.
3D.
Something
it
can look really great
Yeah.
in 2D, but sometimes it just doesn't translate into 3D that well. So
Yes.
either we will have the sculptor make that change, or the sculptor will, on their own, make that change, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're all professionals.
Yeah, they're all professionals. They know exactly what we're going to want. They can see the product. They know about production as well. They're going to be able to predict some of the issues that could happen. So they're going to go ahead and make those changes as well. Sometimes there are aesthetic changes.
Oh yeah, no, there could always be. I can't, or off the top of my head, but I mean, you're going to need. Definitely.
Yeah,
it's just part of the nature of the beast. It's the way we just created the whole process. There's input, for lack of a better word, all the way down the process for all sorts of reasons. Aesthetically, production, subject matter. It's the same thing that would happen too, as if we all of a sudden realize we've got too heavy of an undead schedule on our list. We need to back it off. Then entire pieces are actually just canceled. Sometimes, most times, they'll make it back in, let's say, even at a much later date. Sometimes they just never see the light of day again, But it's a very amorphous for us. Well, not wouldn't be the good word. But there is not really, amorphous would work, because there's not a self structure to the whole process. It is very input driven.
And we do make aesthetic changes sometimes.
Yeah.
If we think that something needs to be changed, we'll go ahead and make the
Yeah.
change. So unfortunately, sometimes things may not look exactly like the concept art.
But it was never designed to. And if you go back through and look at a lot of it, there's been changes just for years. It's what we've always done, type of thing.
Right.
Does that help with that?
Yeah.
Did that get you there?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
like I said, but I just wanted to, like I said, just address real quick. If something shows up in the final production, it doesn't look exactly like the concept art. We're not trying to make people angry by changing the model.
But I mean, yesterday there were some pieces that were coming up that when we got quotes on the production, when we looked at our side of the production, we turned around and said, well, this piece has got to go and that's got to come off and we can add this. And these are common discussions around here. So
right. And sometimes, we plan on, we have grand plans for everything, and sometimes it just may not just may not make it all the way to the end. We may want something, but in the end, it just, for production reasons or whatnot, it just doesn't happen. And we do try. We were really, really try to stay faithful to give you guys what we think we can give you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just
I think
doesn't
that
work
covered
out.
it. You got it. Yeah,
Anyway,
you got it.
Justin, do we have any questions from anyone?
Well, let's see here.
That are suitable to answer?
We have a couple. This particular riveting one, the fellow wants to know if the giant you guys showed has boobs.
Yes.
Yes, she does.
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
Also, there's a request to show 4-scale with that giant again.
Yeah,
sure.
Closer to the
Here.
camera.
I'll try to put it just like that. I know the concept. Let's talk about concept art. In the concept art, the model wasn't as it wasn't feminine. It was called Frost Giant Heroine, but it wasn't.
Oh, it didn't
terribly,
have the. I remember
it
that.
wasn't terribly feminine.
But that's a good. This is actually a very good example for that, because you run into this also even with elves. If you look at a miniature and you want to call it an elf, and it's instead of a human, you'll notice it's got ears that stick out from under its hair. Now, if you were to actually take that hair off, that would make those ears just gigantic, and that's not what they are. So you have to accentuate to help get across the point of what it is you're doing. And in this particular case here, he added some breasts to him, but they're really very subtle.
It is.
There's nothing to him. But I mean, it was part of being able to bring it up to say, well, that is a female frost giant versus a male.
Right. And I think what people may be seeing in this is the way that Jason did the armor. It tends to accentuate the bust line so much, but I wouldn't call it.
Yeah, it is. It just
busty figure.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It does. Yeah, it does have a bosom, but
yeah,
I think it's tastefully done. I think it's it's not bare skin, by the way. You can't tell, but that is armor on top of there, so it's not. She doesn't have a Power Girl boob window. Or anything.
I mean, I
like
could
that.
see it if you ended up with a huge, just if it was something that was gratuitously over that silly.
Yeah,
and it's not that by any
No,
stretch.
I think it's tastefully.
So
done.
what else do you have?
Okay, let's see.
If you get to play games on your phone, I want to.
No, I'm trying to monitor these chats here, and I don't have a mic, so
Oh, okay.
let's see here.
Justin, our producer,
Yes.
on the job,
Mhm. Let's see here.
fielding questions.
Donnie Mott on Facebook wants to know if those dragons come in parts.
Donnie Mott wants to know.
Donnie, yes.
Yes,
The dragons
they
come
do come in parts.
Yes. Now, like I said, we printed these wings in 3 because our process only allows us to do it like this. But when they come from China, when it comes back from production overseas, I don't anticipate those being 3 wings. I think it'll be wing, body, head, tail, base.
Yeah, really sort of a good example here, because this is actually very close to what the production would look like. Each of these wings here would be separate and joined at the body. Mm-hmm. You would probably see, in this particular case, because the jawline runs all the way through, that the top of this head would be a separate piece. Because with the mouth open and you have the teeth in here and you want to keep the hollow mouth, this would end up being a separate piece that would tack on. Right. This leg here is sort of an outlier. And kind of a thing. So if you look at the plane, it's sticking off to the side here. So this would probably be a separate piece. The body itself, this piece here would be, I would assume, to be
maybe one big piece, yeah.
One big piece. And then, of course, you'd have this piece, the terrain piece, the castle ruin, would also be one piece.
Yeah.
So you really end up landing at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would end up with about 6 large pieces. All of them really designed. One of the things we do is try and structure the pieces to where that they will just structurally go together and hold. We don't really consider superglue to be a structural element. But yes, they would be in pieces. And also, too, people, get questions in. This is your time now.
Yeah, anything you guys want to ask us,
yeah.
Feel free. But again, I don't think these are going to be 3 pieces. I think it'll be a solid wing when it gets in.
Yeah, so what's next?
Brian Stilts actually requests a
Hey,
close-up
Brian.
on the dragon you were just holding up there.
Oh.
Yeah.
This guy?
Well, why don't you come by and see it, Brian?
Brian, you're just down the street. Come on over and take a look at it.
Here we go.
Is it this one? Blacksting?
This one, the one I was just holding.
Brian wants to look at Blacksting?
That one right there?
Yeah.
You can believe you guys already answered this question, but there are probably people that joined late. Daryl Sandel would like to know if the getting minis in from China is going to have a problem with the whole trade issues going on.
Currently, no, not that we know of. I mean, it's trade is open. The goods are going to flow. If the tariffs do go into place, then it just becomes a cost of doing business. They'll be they're equally applied. It goes across the board. But we're not aware of anything that would get, and we do have a couple of trade people that we do talk with or meet with reasonably regularly to have discussed it. So at this moment, we know as much as you do, but we don't anticipate anything because the ships are running. We're placing our orders. We just got a container in, so
yeah, good stuff on the way now. And,
yeah.
Draxism with Twitch would actually like to see Blacksting again because his girlfriend missed it the first time.
This one.
So
Okay.
you're doing him a massive favor.
A massive favor for him.
Yes,
Huh?
absolutely.
All right. There we go for her.
Ignore me for a moment. I'm going to look something up.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Vamp.
There we go. And then there's its wingspan.
Let's see here. Necromancer D would like to know what parts of the Kickstarter are going to be in the new hard plastic. Just Chronoscope, or will any of the set, the core set, be in
Several set. No, the core set isn't, because that was the first thing to go to production, and we didn't have the technology far enough along that we felt really comfortable with committing that much at that time. Because the schedule, it's like a river; it's not an instantaneous just drop it. Mm-hmm. Several of the other sets, if not all the sets, I don't have that in front of me, of Dreadmere and
Dreadmere, Darkreach, Lost Valley,
Philly.
fan favorites, Chronoscope.
Those will be in this newer material, as well as some of the options. So
I think specifically, some of the options we see here are going to be in the traditional Bones material, which there's never been an issue with.
That's where the Bones material really shines, is on this larger material stuff, both in the cost to get to the consumer, as well as the fact that when you've got flippers this big and a head, it's not going to be a bendy problem. Everybody gets something to look at but me.
And Michael Proctor's texting me, Michael from Denver. I don't know what that is supposed to mean, Michael, but thanks for texting during our live stream.
Yes. So, what's another one?
Olaf the Peach actually would like to know if we're printing these, which I believe some of these we are. Do you ever plan on making the files available for sale for 3D print for the 3D printing community?
That's always been a discussion, really, for the last several years. And for us, it's right now. We're not lost in it. We understand it. It's just getting the infrastructure set up to be able to even offer it on how to do it. One of the things we actually met with a company, I guess several months ago, back in March, that's one of the things they did. And we found out from them that the technical side of this, the technical support, I've got a file, it's not printing, or when it prints, it does this. That's an entire area that we don't currently have in our infrastructure. Right. That we would have to add that as far as not only the people, but the training to be able to answer and deal with that. And it becomes, as he even pointed out, a 24/7 job. He does it for another company, and he said, just be ready. Christmas night at 10 o'clock, you're going to get questions that need to be answered.
So the short
answer is yes, eventually someday, but not real soon. Right. Not within the next year.
The first part of your question, digital, traditional, digital.
Turtle again, actually.
The turtle.
Yeah, people would like to see the turtle again.
All right. Let's do it this way.
Okay, there he is off his base.
Off his base, so you can see the entire underside. And then we'll give a fan to this side. And from like that.
That's cool.
And then is the base itself, as Ron mentioned, that there'll be a clear peg here, which you in theory could even shorten if you know whatever, you can adjust the height. But on it, you're going to see a lot of sea bottom treasure and rig,
Yeah, Jason Weeby had a lot of detail.
A lot of fun to that.
It'd be fun to pick that up.
Okay, let's see here. Simple from Twitch would actually ask if you could describe the difference between the new bones material compared to the traditional material. If there's a real difference.
There is a real difference. Is let me borrow the Calidrax here.
Or here's a Sir Forescale.
Oh yeah, even better.
We're also getting multiple requests for Nartholotep. To stumble over the name.
Nartholotep or
I don't know if that's available.
I can go get that.
Yeah, we can go get it.
I can grab it. That's fine.
Go see Kevin.
Kevin's not in today.
Oh.
So but you saw it this morning.
Yep.
Just be careful.
So anyway, here's Sir Forescale in bones material. As you can see, while his sword is straight and more than paintable and stiff, it still has a bendy element. And then the actual side effect of the process, sometimes the packaging, the blister or whatever, you'll arrive or you'll purchase one and he'll be like that. Simply boil it, it'll come back to straight. It goes back to its original state when it was formed when you boil it. You might see some weakness at the feet. This base sort of wobbles. Things like that. But overall, a decent figure to paint. Now, if we go to something like this guy, this is where bones in the past would have really failed, which is why we started with this one. Is the first experiment was the chronoscope set. I have these two little autocannons on the top. They're stiff. They aren't flexing. Okay. They're also not. It's not going to break. It's not like it's fragile or anything. You can. Let me see if I can show you here. I can bend it up pretty good, but when I drop it back, it'll plink straight up. So it's basically a much stiffer material. The molds themselves also, too, part of the thing we did was adjust how the tooling was made as well. So you're going to see a lot more detail in here because with a stiffer material, it doesn't want to come out of the tool just as easy as a softer would. So in turn, you're going to see more detail. But that's probably the easiest thing there. Here's the...
Let's put him up.
I guess.
So here's Nyarlathotep. Let's see. I'm going to break it, but you get the idea. Let's go ahead and do this real quick. I have Kevin is home looking. He's probably cringing. But you can see it's our 4-scale. Cool toy. Excuse me. Cool model. I've been told not to call them toys anymore.
Oh.
Heaven forbid you actually play with them. But there's that guy. And I just want to reiterate again, if you guys want any of these models and you haven't pledged for them, now's the time to get them through the pledge manager at this price, or at the low Kickstarter price, because when they go to retail, they're going to be a lot more. So get them now, get them while you can, because like I said, when they come out next year, they'll be a lot more than what they are. I'm going to go back to the bones material.
Okay.
Like Ed said, it's the flexibility is not as they're not as flexible as the traditional bones material, but not only that, it appears that the detail is much crisper. I'm not sure if that's because of the color.
I think it's more of the trend. You're losing that substrata diffusion that you get with the white, which is got a translucent layer and it sort of glows in the light weird and looks soft. This, yes, it does look like it does have much gray, but I think it's because like a lot of it is just it's the flat gray.
So it's just the appearance. Yeah. Now, because the bones, they don't look like they hold their detail, but they actually once you paint them, you can see that detail is in there.
Yeah. But like in this particular case, the articulation of the moles is going to be dramatically different than what was used for when we're making bones. So they're more complicated moles. And they will, in theory, I believe, will provide us a much more detailed model.
What else you got there, Justin?
Let's see here. Amarav. I'm not going to try to say the name, but this person with Twitch wants to know if the new plastic is paintable like bones, or does it need to be primed?
No, it's paintable straight up. It's yes. You could paint straight onto it. I wish we had one here. It's been played, yeah.
I'm getting questions via text. It's from my mother. She's just telling me how handsome I am. Never mind. I'm just going to ignore that. Go ahead. It's not the only question. Thanks, Mom.
All right, let's see here. Let me dig through some questions.
Damn, I'm going to have to get a fan club.
I know. So you should have brought your phone.
Really.
You could pretend to get texts.
Oh. You'd think Brian would at least send me a text.
I know, something. Let's try to throw us off our game here. By the way, just to let you guys know, we will be going back to our regularly scheduled Kickstarter updates July 6th, 1st and 3rd Friday of each month. So July 6th is our next update. This is just sort of a special out of the ordinary kind of thing. It's not an update per se, but but July 6th we'll be back doing our updates, and then the one after that will be the 20th, I guess. So we're still on track to doing twice a month updates.
So it's another one.
We have another question from Donnie on Facebook. He
Hi,
says,
Donnie.
What drives your decisions as far as initial concepts that you want to see made? Is it personal preference, lack of available models on the market, etc.? What drives your selection?
A lot of that. I mean, it could be trends out of Hollywood. If we see a lot of, pirate movies coming out, then you'll probably see us doing some pirate material. We all have our niche favorites. I've always liked the undead, so I'm always rooting for when to see those, or sci-fi. People
love dragons.
People always loved, or floppy hat wizards. Those are always perennial sellers.
The Cthulhu stuff is kind of nichey, but it seems to be fairly popular.
But it's never been covered in the past, and it's never been covered in the past to any size. And so the Cthulhu model, all of the models are really done. Really, I think much the larger scale really helps. But Cthulhu, again, it is sort of a niche game, but it's a lot of fun to paint and kind of a thing.
We had these dinosaur guys from the Chronoscope expansion. Chris Lewis did these. I think, I'm not sure if it was Chris or maybe we were just talking one day, and it was just sort of came up. Let's do some cool dinosaur guys with guns, and so it was an organic kind of a conversation, and Chris just did them, and he did a fantastic job. And then once we were done with the sci-fi, we thought, well, why don't we do some kind of fantasy versions? So that's when we did the Lost Valley versions, where they're the barbaric versions, and I think they all turned out really, really great. Matter of fact, I think they're so cool that we may do more in the future. Just because
it's really, you never know where it's going to come from.
Yeah,
I just recently there was a small fish that was discovered that's a really unusual shape, and that's a piece there. That's a piece of art that I was going to show Ron, and so you really don't know where it's going to come from or why it's going to hit you, but it does come from all sorts of sources. It's really though hard to identify two games in a sense. You can't really do that because games come and go, and also it just doesn't work like that easy. So what's next?
Okay, let's see here. Tindaro33 would like to know, will there be any community-based contests for sculpts or things of that nature?
Alliance ran...
They used to design your own miniature.
Right.
Contests.
Annually. But I don't think they've done that.
Let me just put it, first of all, inside of Kickstarter, no, right? So
okay.
we're not going to, as far as Kickstarter-based type of things, no, we won't be doing that. Regular day-to-day ReaperMini.com stuff, it's possible. we've not done it before. We have, like you said, we've done the Design Your Own Mini contest through the Alliance Game Trade magazine.
Was it talking about actually a sculpting contest? Is more or less
Essentially, yes, a community-driven sculpting contest.
sculpting versus a painting contest. Now that could occur. Yeah.
It's a great idea. It's just a matter of when we're going to have the time to do these kinds of things. And I think it's a great idea. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it.
Yeah, I think we can. I can talk with Matt. He runs the online. We do a community Facebook paint contest. Mm-hmm. I think he does it quarterly, and we can get with him and see if we can do it.
That might be a good thing to do through Facebook. Yeah, sure.
That's definitely a good idea. I like that. It's not something been discussed. So.
Okay, let's see here.
Tempo.
Here we go. Here's the other shameless. Lock in your pledges. Make sure you lock in your pledges. I've been asked to tell you guys, please, if you haven't locked in your pledges, go lock in your pledges.
Shiv Games Utah would like to know if there's any chance for more sci-fi resin or hard plastic terrain.
Yes, there'll be. What was his name?
Shiv Games Utah.
Shiv Games in Utah. Okay. Yes. Well, this time what we've done with this last Kickstarter is come out with 3 container sizes and a pod size. The difference is they'll be in styrene. The initial batch will be pushed over there, then we'll put them in production over here at our factory. But the thing is they'll be flat, and so they'll be able to have open doors on them, all that. So you'll get all your containers covered there. There'll also be a dumpster that's in there that's a more traditional dumpster like what you'd see on the streets today. Just a lot of brick and brack kind of stuff, pylons and things like that.
Yeah, pylons and things like that.
And
we're always talking about doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
sure we are. Shameless plug.
You're big on these.
I know. I have a lot of shameless plugs. ReaperCon. I know this is outside of Kickstarter, so just indulge me for a moment. ReaperCon is August 30th through September 2nd this year here in Denton, Texas. If you can come down, we'd love to see you guys come down. There's painting classes, sculpting classes, games, all kinds of fun stuff. So the MSP Master Series Open Painting Contest is one of the biggest painting contests for miniatures in America.
Yeah, and we'll see, and you'll have a lot of high-end painters here.
Yeah.
I mean, we always get a very, very good group.
And, it's a great way to experience miniatures and the hobby of painting miniatures. You can come in, you can learn. People are very helpful. Like I said, you can take classes. If you've never been before, it's something you should definitely check into.
Just at least go to the website and look at it.
Yeah, reapermini.com, and you can also check our social media streams, specifically Facebook. There's a lot of information on Facebook about ReaperCon, so you guys should definitely check that out.
Well, we probably have time for a few more questions.
Okay.
And, let's start with Bishop Odo would like to know if you plan on updating the older bones to the newer plastic.
That's probably not. What will happen, Bishop, is generally as we get that more perfected and worked out, we'll just review subject matters. It's through the years we've tried doing that with other lines back in metal and resin, and it's just not a successful transition in that sense. So it's usually sales driven. If you've got a really popular piece, let's say this guy here, and he's in the old bones material, and he's just super hot seller, then there's a good chance he could make a candidate run for the newer material and sort of survive in length.
Yeah, so it's just a kind of a review thing. If we have something that's very popular,
but honestly too, it's like it's an unusual little fact here, is out of 100 figures, which I always refer to them as a century, you're only going to end up with about 10 of them, maybe 12, that actually are long-term sellers. You can usually, a lot of them are just DOA after a year. I mean, their sales are good, they drop off, and they just get down here. So.
And again, our perspective on these things is different from the consumer's perspective.
Right,
We're always trying to cull the slow things and just constantly push the good things.
Right, but the internet's also helped a lot in that one area, in as much as that we can now keep. In the old days, we actually had to cancel stuff, and it was gone. Now you've got the internet, and you can get it forever.
You always get it. Yeah. So, yeah, it'd be great to eventually go back and maybe review that and see if there's some of the older models. But at the same time, you may just think, well, just keep coming up with new stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes it is just easier to say that's a neat idea, and why don't we just do a whole new version of it rather than reprocess the older version. Yeah.
Because sculpting gets better. The models are just better these days. So. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's a good question. That's a good question.
Aaron Evans on Facebook actually would like to know what the most challenging model was that you put into production.
Ever.
In the history of the company.
In the history of the company.
Huh.
That would be
From a metal perspective, just go from a metal perspective.
There were 2 contract pieces we did. One was for I can't think of the name of that game, but it was so popular out of Vegas.
The Dragon.
The Dragon's the second one, but the first one is the big guys that Bobby sculpted.
Westwood Studios.
Westwood Studios.
Planetary.
No, it wasn't Annihilation. It was anyway. These things were monstrous, and we had to do 200,000 of them in a short amount of time, and
they were as big as this Frost Giant at least. If not
oh yeah,
bigger.
easily this size or more, and it was a Command and Conquer. That was the game.
That's what it was.
Command and Conquer. So anyway, they were massive. Bobby did the sculpts on them. They messed around with approvals and finally got it done, and we lost some time, so we had to produce 200,000 plus of those, polished, ready to go in a matter of weeks. And the shop ran 24 hours a day. The molds, the tooling on them took forever. That was horrendous. And that's when we set our record then of, was it 4 tons of metal?
That's a lot of
in
metal.
one day we cast 4 tons of metal. It would be about 8,000 pounds in one
so
day.
the pieces had to be cast. Then once they're cast, they had to be acid dipped, polished,
Then lacquered, and then packaged.
sprayed, and then
Yeah.
packaged.
But even just to get it into production, the
That was
pieces
another
were
game.
extremely complicated and took huge tools to be able, because they were so big and they had to be done as a one piece. Since it's a ready to go item, you couldn't cut it up like a piece like
they were
this.
one-piece cast.
So that would be the one. Then the second one was in metal, was that dragon. We had to cast a dragon that was in this pose
Almost
here
exactly like that. Yeah.
as a one piece item, and that was probably number
That
2 on the
was
list.
A pain in the rear.
But that would be for the metal side.
Yeah, I would say probably most of the challenging pieces we've done have been more or less contract pieces, because if we do it for ourselves, we're going to make it
We can
a lot
change
easier.
and adjust,
Yeah.
and yeah,
we're going to make it a lot easier.
yeah.
No, I'd forgotten all about that Westwood contract. That was
All right. Well, for the last question of the day, I think this is a really good one, guys. Necromancer
Just set up.
CD would like to know if you could just have his order right now.
sure. Come get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, really. We can print it for you if you want to stay and wait for a week, I guess.
Oh wait, I just got a question. Oh, it's from Paul at ReaperMini.com. I don't know who that is. He's asking about cat people. Yes, we know cat people. We got it. We got it. There's 2 in the fan favorite set. I promise we are going to produce more cat people. Yes, they'll be in metal before they'll be in plastic. But yes, more cat people are on the way. Yes, thanks for all the suggestions.
All right, then remind people, ReaperCon.
Okay.
Are we going to do more of these live
Oh yeah,
streams,
this is your
guys?
shameless plug time.
Oh hey, shameless plug ReaperCon.
Are
Yes.
we,
Come meet the artists.
Are we going to do any more live streams like this?
Yes, definitely.
Sure.
Right?
If you
I
guys,
enjoyed
if
it.
you
I had
guys,
fun.
we'd love to hear you guys' feedback. If you guys want to see more of these live streams, just let us know through
Yeah.
through the social media channels, through email. Contact us, let us know. We enjoy doing them.
This video will be available on YouTube afterwards, and it's going to have pictures of everything you see here in high detail.
Oh, good. That'd be good. Yeah.
So yeah, so
we'll
I don't know
do
if
some 360 turnarounds as well for YouTube. So
Okay.
you can look at
Yeah, so
all angles.
for people who don't have social media, who are not on Facebook or don't have Twitch, we will be putting this on, like Justin said, on YouTube, on our YouTube page, youtube.com/ReaperMini. Is that right, Justin?
Mhm.
Sounds good to me. Okay.
I think it's Reaper Mini, yes.
Okay.
If you just go to YouTube and type in Reaper Miniatures,
so-
you'll find us.
Okay. So in closing,
Oh wait, lock the pledges in.
Lock the
them, and if
pledges
you
in.
know somebody, tell them. You guys got to get that done.
lock your pledges in. Pledge Manager's open until the end, or the beginning of September. If you've got friends who aren't in, who want to get in, you can still get
Yeah.
this stuff. Lock your pledges in, get your people on. Let's go to the Reaper Pledge Manager on ReaperMini.com. It's on the front page. It's a little picture. You'll see it right in the front of ReaperMini.com. Come to ReaperCon.
That's all I can think of. That and we'll get Ron to do a miniatures karaoke next time.
Buy more stuff from ReaperMini.com. I don't know. Just whatever. Another shameless plug. And again, we appreciate everyone's time. Thanks for stopping by and watching us. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Here
It's
on
good to see
Twitch
all of
and
y'all.
on Facebook.
At least in the lens.
Yes. See ya.